When I modded the Arcade1Up, I only had two leftover buttons I could use as coin and exit buttons. They were the start buttons from my Killer Instinct kit I ordered. I used them for the time being, but I ended up ordering two black buttons from eBay to replace them. I'll link to all the buttons in the Killer Instinct joystick and button set I got on eBay in the description. I started by taking apart my control panel. I removed the player 1 and 2 start buttons from the front of the cabinet and replaced them with these black buttons that just blend in better. I then removed the original start buttons that came with the Arcade1Up cabinet and replaced those with the player 1 and 2 start buttons. It's a little redundant since the control panel already labels the buttons. That won't be an issue once I reskin the cabinet to make it look more like a Killer Instinct cabinet. I'm no longer using any of the buttons that came with the original Arcade1Up. I really prefer these HAPP buttons and joysticks. I know they aren't for everyone, but they are what was in the original Killer Instinct cabinet and most of my favorite arcade games. These games were almost all made by Midway, so it just makes sense. The USB encoder board I bought was clearly not made for these big HAPP micro switches. You will need to make a slight modification to make the metal contacts fit the HAPP switches. I'm demonstrating here. I had to bend the metal contacts out at the tips with some small pliers. They then fit the micro switches and stay nice and snug as long as you don't bend them too far out. I'd say start small. Test them and work your way up so you don't ruin any of your wires. I'd repeat this step for every joystick and button micro switch. I still think it was worth it. I love the look and feel of HAPP controls. When wiring the micro switches, be sure the red wire is on the middle prong and the black wire is on the bottom. I really wasn't sure at first how to do it, and I had to do a lot of research on YouTube and finally found the answer buried in a video. I then put the cabinet back together and tested the buttons using Killer Instinct's diagnostic menu. Once I confirmed all the buttons worked, I screwed the control panel back down. I bought my control set from Tornado Terry's on eBay. I've been to his arcade near Fort Worth, Texas, and knew I could trust him to sell real HAPP controls. He sells a complete Killer Instinct button and joystick kit. He also sells kits for other arcade games. I've put together a couple of links to his eBay items, and one for his store in the description. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you, please click thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already.